the same movie.
I said, you said everything I've done will surprise you. I said hello to all our viewers. So say hello to. We pretend that we don't talk before. Hello,
Oh, well, nice to meet you.
nice to meet you, Jean-Michel, my good friend for 35 years. We meet again after 35 years. We have two meetings so far on recording about the history of Sahaja Yoga in Romania, but from there we go to different subjects, and we decided to continue those subjects on the other channel, which is called Intersection in Sahaja Yoga. So the people who want to see Jean-Michel before, they will have to change the channel for the history of Sahaja Yoga. It's in English, our conversation, my poor English. Uh, I want to tell our viewers, which I thank them very much for watching us and send us comments. I want to say a few things about Jean-Michel, which if they don't know him from previous conversation, they have a good surprise, I believe, because Jean-Michel, I don't like to use big words, but it's a personality. Actually, he can say every one of us it's a personality, but you will see. He get his realization in 1985, not in 1984, like you wrong to me here. You trick me with one year. You want to look older in Sahaja Yoga, I believe. He have a full Sahaja Yoga life. He helped Romanian Sahaja Yoga in 1990. That's why I know him. They came to in Romania to help us establish Sahaja Yoga and tell us a lot of things about that. He married in 1986 with a lady from Australia, Liane, which one day I hope we will have our guest as well. So he's an architect and been involved one of the best job in the world, combining the art and the science. That's my view. So what more you want? Calculation and art. Da Vinci. I mean, that's yes. Um,
That's the goal.
that's the goal. Yes. Um, he's been involved in a lot of Sahaj work, like architect. He um, been involved in the Kabela Castle in 1992 when Shimataji asked him to do some uh, drawing architectural stuff for the castle, for the renovation of the castle. We know what state was the ashram or the the building when was bought it. He was involved in the Paris ashram extension. He was involved in Sydney ashram renovation when he moved in 97, if I'm not
No, the renovation happened when Shimadaji was
mistaken.
coming in 2006.
Uh-huh. And he was involved in drawing design for the extension of the school in Dharamsala. When Shimataji asked him to do that, I will show you some picture quite soon, and we will go. I will ask Jean-Michel to tell us a little bit more about that meeting, which it's quite interesting. I tell you, he revealed me just a little bit, but he will tell us more, hopefully. He was involved in Sahaja Yoga in France, in Romania, and in Australia. What more you want? So, so in Australia, actually, he's been from 97 until the present, and he help running weekly Sahaja yoga programs, meditation, and music for 15 years on radio. He's been part of Music of Joy of Australia, which many of us knew, so he's a singer as well, and also helped with music and realization tour in Southeast Asia, in Japan, China, or around Australia. He also, I forget to mention that he was involved in the drawing um, the design for the Auckland ashram, which finally, anyway, we don't manage to use those his work, but he kindly come to New Zealand to help us doing that. Hopefully, one day we will use his work, but I believe probably will need different drawings. So you,
Give me a call.
I know where you live.
Yes, no problem.
Okay.
I have all the plans on my computer.
Wow. Um, for me, one of the most interesting things in Jean-Michel CV was the meeting with Srimataji in Pratishthan in 2007 when Srimataji asked him to design the extension for the school in Dharamsala. Those are few pictures he sent me. Are not the best quality because of me. I don't manage to download them properly and to save them properly. But you have a little bit of image of what's happened there. So, Jean-Michel, before we start asking and talking about general stuff which we propose to talk today, can you tell us more about this meeting with Shimataji?
Okay, so Shimataji came to Australia in 2006, and then she came again in 2007. So that was very important because she stayed with her family for a month every time. And at that time, there was discussion because the school in Dharamshala was more children wanted to go there, so it was discussed about expanding the school. And I've always been interested in helping Sahaja yogis with their projects, especially ashram projects, you know, always happy to help. And then I was asked to look into the extension of the school because they wanted to build a gymnasium and an additional building with classrooms. So I said, yes, I can do this. So then I was asked to go to the school in the Himalayas and spend some time there, study what was needed, talk to the teachers and everything. And I was working with Munish Pandey, who is an Indian Sahaja yogi, who was actually the project manager. He was the one, you know, talking with the school. Um, he's a very smart person. He understands construction, he understands architecture. And so we ended up working together. We met in India. And then after I finished my work, he actually got a local builder, and then we met the builder together and so on. So after I stayed in the school for a few days, came back, did some design. Um, I went to Pratishthan at Easter. It was the Easter time to meet Shamataji and to present the the project, the design. The thing is, Shrimataji since 2004 stopped talking in public. In like every puja, there was no talk. So, I was presenting my work, but I was not expecting Shrimataji to speak as such. And then when I was presenting, Shrimataji was asking questions. And I was not prepared because I was not expecting to have a discussion with Shrimataji. But anyway, uh, that was um, that was very, very nice. So the design was, as I said, we designed two buildings on this property, and Shemataji was asking questions like, uh, where are the children going to be playing outside? She was asking very practical questions about how the children will be taken care of. That was mostly the questions she was asking. Um, So I was explaining what was the purpose of the design, and she made some suggestions. She said this shouldn't be there, this can be there. She made some suggestions like this, and so we finished the meeting, and then after that we had I think it was the next day we had a puja, Easter puja, and Shamaji made this beautiful speech. That was the first time she was speaking at a puja since 2004. And we all felt a special, that it was a special day. It was like some yogis called it the resurrection day. And there was so much love, so much joy in that puja. That was tremendous. So, but coming back to the project, what happened is, so Shemaji pointed out many things that had to be changed in the design. Then I went back to Australia, and then I was speaking to Munish about the project, and then it was found out that we designed on the wrong land, that the survey plan they gave us was not accurate, and our design was putting the new buildings on the property that doesn't belong to Sahaja.
Wow.
So then we had to redesign from scratch everything.
Wow.
So the first design was not used at all. Srimataji made some suggestions and comments,
Yeah.
and when we redesigned within. So in my office at that time, I had a few employees, and I had two. I think I had two Yuva Shaktis working in my office, and one of them is called Andrei. He came from Ukraine, and Andrei was working with me on this project. So he was the one putting the plans together, and then we would brainstorm together to decide what to do and this that. And that was Andre. That was another yogi. I think it was Vinayaka. I think forgot his Western name. Uh, I think it was Vinayaka on this project. And anyway, oh, it was that was someone else as well worked on it. Anyway, so within a few days, we produced a brand new design on the property, and then we presented that new design. We sent that new design to Shamadaji, and she said, "Perfect, nothing to change." So it was interesting how it worked out that the first design had quite a lot of things that had to be fixed, and it was actually designed on the wrong property. The second design was like instantly done with
Wow.
no complications.
But the pictures show you showing Shimataji's pictures of the first design.
That's right. That was the first presentation where um, I was showing some 3D views and plans. And then Shemataji put her whole attention on this, on me, on everything. And then when we had to redesign, it's like she was doing it completely. It
That,
just went very fast. We didn't have to think. It just got done. And it was built exactly as we designed it.
wow. Um, that's exactly what caught my attention. The way how Shimataji treat uh, the design, very focus with a full attention. You can see Shimataji being involved 100%. I mean, for example, here in that picture, you can see her question to you. I mean, what are you doing here? Looks like
Yeah, yeah. That was exactly what happened because I had designed a platform. I think it was next to the classroom building. I had a platform, and I was suggesting that children could play there. And she looked at it and she said, "What about if they fall from here to there? What will happen?" So then, she was asking these very, very practical questions, foreseeing
yeah,
what may happen to the children. So it was very, very precise.
yeah,
It was not a general discussion. It was very precise.
very applicated. Yes.
Yes.
Wow. Um, Something like that, very difficult to forget. I believe it's stuck with you. Having discussion with Shimataji is not everybody's experience. And thank you for sharing this with us, Jean-Michel. Um, Usually we don't have plans for topics, but this time because last conversation, last episode, which is on history of Sahaja Yoga in Romania, we touch some interesting subjects about the differences in the way how the people from Western Europe and Eastern Europe are connected with the spirituality, with God, with conservative values, if you want, bring me more questions. And I want to know Jean-Michel opinion. Basically, I want to know everybody's opinion I'm talking with about that. And obviously, for the people who know me, they know that I have my opinion as well. So will be a big surprise if I don't said what what I believe. So I will start with that. Jean-Michel was like all the French people who came in Romania by that time, and I believe many other people, not only Sahaja, people who came from Western country, from Occident, they find themselves in a different world, especially in Romania, which was one of the less developed Eastern Bloc countries. The other countries on the Eastern Bloc, starting from North, Poland, Czechoslovakia by that time, Czech and Slovakia, Hungary, Yugoslavia, were more than a little bit more developed than Romania.
Sure.
Only us with the Bulgarians, we were kind of similar. We always believe ourselves that Romanian are a bit on top of Bulgarian. But we are the same in the Balkans. You know, it's a mixture there in our countries, culturally speaking. A lot of tradition, which is good. And we keep those traditions with our poverty as well. But most of the spiritual things, because we believe ourselves and our in ourselves as a people closer to spirituality, closer to God. And maybe it's like that, but the apart from the cultural things, a kind of contribution was were the political regime. So that's what I want to talk now a little bit. What do you believe is the importance of dictatorship, no matter what it is, ideological or religious, on keeping the people inside of morality?
Wow. The only thing I feel about authoritarian regimes is that it puts pressure on people's freedom. Like in the West, we have the freedom to be moral or immoral. And, you know, there is no physical restriction for this. As such, there is a justice system, but on the internet or anywhere, people can do whatever they want. In a authoritarian regime, I guess it puts some restrictions on people, not only on morality, but on religion, on everything. And because you don't have a choice, I guess because you don't have a choice on what you should do or not do, then it forces you to find the resources within yourself because if you go on the street and start demonstrating against the government, they will send you to jail. So you better find in yourself the solution to survive and keep your balance in that situation. So in that way, it forces people to put their attention inward. And I think that's a good thing. As in the Western part of Europe, there has been a lot of freedom in arts, in cinema, in all sorts of things, in the leisures, and the money also. There was much more money. Money is available to whoever wants to work hard. You can make the money and do whatever you want. As in communist countries, it's all managed by the state. So I remember that meeting people from Romania. See, in under the communist regime, whether you work very hard or not very hard, you're still being paid. So the motivation for studying and working as an engineer, for example, was really for the sake of how much you love engineering. As in the West, people will make decisions on what they want to do based on how much money they're going to make. And that is a completely different approach. Uh,
Uh, I dare to disagree.
okay.
I'm an engineer and I don't give a damn about my. I like chemistry. I have to admit that I like chemistry, especially because I'm a chemical engineer. I like organic chemistry, the chemistry of carbon. So all we know is what means the chemistry of carbon. It's
Yes, but you could have chosen to do architecture or,
no,
you know,
no. I mean, yeah, I can do architecture, but I wasn't talented enough. Uh,
but you had the choice if you wanted to.
yes, but very limited choices.
Okay.
Very limited choices. Not as many choices as in the West. And most of the people who are smart enough, I mean, not exactly stupid, if they really want it, they become engineers. Engineer, well, we have a national sport of becoming engineer. And I follow that trend just because I don't want to be an worker. So you have two choices. And the money was the important one. Because if you are a worker, you are an underclass, first of all. Don't believe in that idea that we were equal. No,
No, no, no. I don't.
unofficial. No, no,
I know that.
that's a side discussion. Under the propaganda was a huge class system. So the engineer or the people who have a tertiary education looks very down to the people who are workers. And on top of the tertiary education was the activist, was the political stuff, who look very down to the tertiary education people because they have the power, you know. And on top of that was the security, who can do everything they wanted, and the police, which are called militia, you know, and they rule all us, which will live in fear. And on top of that was the supreme guys, not the supreme person, the supreme guys. That's another class of big political guys who tremble in front of the one who is the top of the top, who looked down to everybody else, but said that he want the good for all the people, including the workers, which was the base of the base. So my motivation, and 95% of the people who wants to become engineer, was not to be workers, not because they love the job.
Yeah, but
Have the options,
yeah, but
but
you had the choice of the discipline you want to work with. You know, like
yes, in a limitation, we have that. Uh,
you could have been a lawyer.
yes, but I tell you what, the system worked that way. Um, those options was very limited. They
Mm.
exist, you know. They need doctors, but they don't need too many lawyers.
Yes,
So they have a very limited
that's right.
option for the lawyers. You know,
Yes,
they need engineers, but not because we are much smarter than the workers,
yes, I
but
understand.
because they need someone to lead the workers. I don't do my job as an engineer. I do my job like more like a helping hand, you know, like the one who makes sure that the workers are doing their job. I don't do my job, and 90% of the engineer do like that, you know. Some of them were much better, but anyway. So uh, we don't we need professors, we need teachers, but we don't need too many actors, you know. So the places for the actors was very limited, only 7 in the whole Romania.
Wow.
We don't need architects, too many architects, because all the buildings are the same. So drawn by one of your staff, you know, don't need too much
Imagination.
imagination, too much art. So the places were limited, and was a huge competition to enter there. No one, not too many people. Plus, you don't have the options in the West for the other fields, because those are very classical fields: teacher, engineer, doctors, what I just mentioned. But you don't have some other stuff like social science, like political science. You have some arts, but also only 7. I know friends of us who, excuse me, goes for 7 years in a row to enter.
Wow.
You know, like museology, for example, or art. You know, in the
Dance.
faculty of arts, where you by nature are a talented guy. You are a good painter or a good designer, but it's good to have that diploma. Not too many people can go there because there are again limited, seven per year, seven places, whole Romania, 20 million people.
Wow.
You know, so the regime managed to force you or to do whatever they wanted. It's exactly like the economy. So if you don't have a free economy, you will collapse sooner or later like the communist regimes because you cannot make sure that you programming, planning everything is
I
not
know.
possible. The economy doesn't work like that. Only in the crisis. Yes, in the big crisis, the economy work like that. Short period of time, war or other crisis. When this is finished, you have to let the economy going completely free because
Yeah.
only with the freedom you can have everything. And that brings me to the spiritual and the moral discussion we start with. It's the same with those stuff which only the freedom managed to resolve everything despite the big problems. In Hungary, it's a regime. Now, as we speak, it's Orban, the guy who led
Yeah.
Hungary for more than 10 years. The population are very conservative, majority of the population. That's why he's a guy who managed to stay in power for so long, playing the card of conservatism. And one of the things who tried to address was the propaganda for homosexuality in Hungary, because he cannot go further than Hungary. But Hungary is a free country. Hungary belonged to the European Union.
Yeah.
Guess what? They ban or try to suppress the Pride parade on Budapest.
Yeah.
For some time they manage a little bit. Guess what I read this morning when I open the news? The biggest gay parade in Budapest with pictures with the bridges, the famous bridges of Budapest over the Danube,
Yeah.
filled with people with flags and everything. And I was talking with Delia, my wife, for people who doesn't know. Look what's happened. You cannot suppress that by force. How you can suppress that? By the majority of people who, instead of sitting like that in front of the TV or side of the road, they should turn their back or, I don't know, disagree with them, not making a contra demonstration, but showing their
Disapproval.
disapproval.
Yeah.
Yes,
Of course. I
that's
agree.
the only way, not banning, because that was in a communist country as well. Guess what? We still have homosexual during the communism. The same usual suspects, usually artists, usually people who manage to meet each other in some parks. Everybody knows those parks. You know, was against the law. It was against the law, but you cannot suppress them. What you can do is not allowed propaganda. That's a different. But I believe that only in the full freedom you allowed this kind of horrible stuff. We focus now on homosexuality. It's not only that one. There are many other things. Those stuff can coagulate, do a lot of bad things, but in the end, somehow by the desire of few people, sane people, and the desire of God, will be finished. I don't know how.
Mm, I agree.
So that was with Romania. So the economic planning, a failure. The morality, uh, I was living in that society for uh, about 35 years when the revolution came. I know exactly what's up. We don't have drugs, but we have alcohol. Russia was the leader of alcoholism.
Yeah.
We don't have other behavior, but the adulterous life was very common, very, very common. And in young people was a matter of pride, actually. Everybody was talking about their adventures. So what you saw when you came in Romania, of course, is true. Beautiful landscape, uh, natural people, close to the nature, close to the earth. But I showed the picture with the people in the căruță, in the with the horse.
Yes.
I don't know them, but from my I don't know those people from the picture. Obviously,
Yes.
I have no idea who they are. But from my experience, if you go to Romania then and now, half of them are drunkards.
Wow.
So sorry to spoil you the beautiful and fairy tale image of a natural country. Obviously, from many perspectives, was better than Western Europe, only because in Western Europe everything is on the plate. Everything was out. In our country, everything was keep it down. Everybody knows about each other, but they don't talk. They know they do something wrong. That's the biggest difference. And maybe the religion was helping. Sorry, I'm talking too much. So,
No, but that's, yeah, I understand.
what do you get it now? I mean, what do you think? I mean, and keeping the people will make them better. Keeping
No, but as Shemataji explained, the fact that religion was suppressed, people didn't go to false gurus. They didn't get caught up with fake religions. Like all religions have been corrupted. So this was a good thing. I think when Shemataji came to these countries, people were like had a virgin heart. They just received the knowledge very quickly, very easily because of that.
yes, yes, that's true.
I
And
think
for
that was a very good thing.
and for and for many years we been a lot of Sahaja yogis. So we start with many hundreds, and in few years we been with Dan Costian leadership spreading Sahaja yoga in the country. And when he immigrated in United States and asked Shimataji to relieve him from the job, he was one of the few leaders who left very nicely without being thrown out
Oh
uh,
yeah.
send it down or whatever. He want to go to America, ask Shimataji very nicely if he can go, if he can be relieved by the leadership and so on. So Shimataji said yes, and he was a very, very successful leader from all the from all the perspective, including from the number of people of Sahaja Yogi, which by that time was many hundreds, a lot, maybe thousands. So in
Do you know do you know how many Sahaja are there in Romania today?
now, probably not as many as was in the beginning of Sahaja Yoga in 90s.
Okay.
In 1990, in the first year. The probably by the end of 90 or 91, to put the Provence as well, the cities outside Bucharest. So obviously, I not living in Romania, but I keep in touch with some of them, but are not very many hundreds. So in a way, from that perspective, Sahaja Yoga uh, is not as developed as we wanted. In
I mean, it's I guess it's the attention going deeper. So surgery's quality is deepening. So the fact there are less numbers, it's a different thing, but at least the surgeries are getting deeper, more established. So that's very important because the numbers, see, when we lived in ashram that's a different thing, but when we lived in ashram in south of France, we were 9 adults and 3 children. And then we stayed like this for 5 years. I mean, I stayed there 5 years. And whenever one was getting married and moved to another country, every single time within the next few weeks, there was a new person coming who wanted to join the ashram and took the place of that person. And every time the person who was coming in had specific characteristics that we needed in the balance of the ashram. It was very significant to see. It was not anybody coming in to fill a gap. It was a specific type of person with specific chakra setup that was needed to keep the balance of the ashram.
uh,
And I think in the country it's a bit the same. Like you can advertise as much as you want. You can talk to people as much as you want. As long as surgeries evolve inside themselves and the country evolves and rise, then the new people will come in and form the collective as to what is needed for the whole country to keep moving deeper and higher. So that's the way I feel about any collective evolution is the numbers is one thing, but it's most important is how much we're getting deeper and higher in our awareness.
yeah.
And then the divine can work out how many numbers do we need, you know.
Obviously, it's not about the numbers. That's for sure. So we agree on that one. And I'm very much hoping that we are, like you said, that we become at least a little bit more wiser, more deep in our evolution. Because in the end, it's about our evolution. But we have to face another challenge now. Because Shimataji said very clear, and that apply in many way of life. You cannot be destroyed as Sahaja Yoga and as Sahaja Yogi only by insight. So that's happened to the individual level. So myself as Sahaja Yogi cannot be destroyed by someone else, Sahaja Yogi or not, because that's another crazy idea that some Sahaja Yogi are working against other Sahaja Yogi, which is a stupid things. You know, there are reverse bandhan. I don't believe in anything like that. I really don't believe. One of the few things which I learned also from you was that when you told us that we have to make bandhan against some people who are bad or whatever, and you don't even let us to ask the question if we can do something wrong, because you start straight away to tell us you cannot do something wrong. You cannot do bandhan for someone to break his leg, for example. That's not possible. So it's against the nature of bandhan. It's not possible. So I don't believe in this kind of stuff. I don't believe
Mataji
that.
told us we are not allowed to curse anyone.
Yes,
She removed that power from yogis.
yes. All the rishis have that power. They have the power to curse someone, and they cannot take the word back. That's even worse. I mean, so I don't believe that someone else can do some wrong. Um, if it's not a Sahaja Yogi, even less. I mean,
Yeah,
some Sahaja Yogi, you can imagine, are scared about some non-Sahaja Yogi, I don't know, magician or whatever, who can do wrong on us. It's not possible. I don't believe that.
I agree.
I don't believe that. So I'm afraid only of Shrimataji and God. I don't want to upset Shrimataji. That's all. So everything which can be wrong in me, and also I don't believe Shrimataji will do something wrong with me. I mean, I'm sure she loves us so much, then she still keeping us in her lap. So therefore, remain only myself or the negativity in me, which I cannot control. That's all. So it's from inside. It's the same as the collective level. So Sahaja Yoga, if will be something wrong with Sahaja Yoga, will be from inside. That's bottom line, and that's the worst enemy we face it now. So let's hope we will prevail.
Yeah, look, the solution is the love of God, and whenever there is a challenge, whether misunderstanding, disagreement, whatever it is, we have to go back to who we are and who is the who is the source of everything. That's the focus we should have, because human beings they're very clever. The supraconscious can take us to pathways that we are not even aware of. I can see this. Any supraconscious attitude or behavior or tendency can take us away from our path without us knowing. This is the danger. And the only antidote for this is the love of God. To become one with the love of God. That's the only way we can be saved from that. This is the danger. See, some people are very genuine, very honest in what they do, even if it is something wrong. But for them, it doesn't look like wrong. That's why you cannot argue with anyone like this. It's not useful. So I think Srimataji was teaching a lot of knowledge verbally in her speeches. She was giving us direct uh, knowledge in our chakras in the pujas. But at the end of the day, there is no convincing anyone. We cannot convince anyone on anything. It has to be experience. So when we meditate with Shamaji's photograph, why we do this is because she is the source of love and the source of vibrations. And we should become like this. If I want to convince anyone about what I believe is the truth about God, I should become that. And then they will see, they will feel it, and they will, they will want to become the same. But I cannot convince anyone. So individually, we got to become that. That's why I was describing before this experience of yesterday's meditation, and that was so important to collectively feel that state of meditation in our sastra like this, because for me, that is the true meaning of us being yogis. We can discuss a lot, but until we become one with that love of God, nothing can be improved. You know, the history of spirituality is quite incredible. Every religion went wrong because of human mind.
Yeah.
And there has been some evil involved in this. But I know some people very genuinely practicing uh, Catholicism, Christian, but they are not right, but they don't know.
Yeah.
This is the drama. The only way to salvation is self-realization and God realization. That's all. Everything else is interesting, but it doesn't give the answer.
Um, I'm not a very pessimistic person, but
I am very optimistic
yes,
from childhood. I don't know why, but when I was a little boy, I always knew everything will be fine. I had lots of problems in my life, but in spite of this, I always had this optimistic attitude.
wow,
Somehow I knew it would be fine.
that's good. I have a tendency to not being pessimistic, but looking for all the options, including the bad one. So to not be disappointed, it's better to look for all the possibilities, including the bad, the worst, the bad one, the worst one, to be prepared for everything. And I have a feeling of failure, spiritually speaking. Um, Hopefully, won't be the case on the direction the Sahaja Yoga is going with the dogmatism and fanatism of some people. I mean, even small things like doing puja only in the same way as a group, not wanting to change anything, believing that's the only way of doing, not being open to the infinite infinite way of doing puja. We were talking about that in our conversation with some other people. I'm not sure I touched with you that subject, but we were talking about having the puja not as diverse as possible, but trying to improve and to change in a good way the protocol, not every time, but here and there, not being stuck in one way of doing. Yes, I will give you an example for a collectivity who are doing uh, Amrut to Puja only in little containers, not washing the feet. So I said, okay, at least time to time do the pouring, you know. No, stacking like that from for the reason of commodity or too much trouble. I mean, to wash after that the feet again. Just come five men, take one element, putting in front of the feet, and that's all. That's the amrut, and they prepare it after that. Uh, if you
If they feel, okay, for me, it comes down to when doing this, if they feel they are one with Shamataji
yes,
and they are fulfilled, genuinely, honestly fulfilled, that's all right. But,
that's no, I don't contest that. What I,
but it's,
what I
yeah,
contest, it's try to do sometimes differently, not believing that's the only way of doing. That's my point.
yeah, yeah, of course,
Change,
you have to follow your heart.
change sometime, not doing like that because that's the way. You know, they are doing this kind. I give you an example. Doesn't matter what it is or what. Uh, that's the problem because everybody who come, they believe that's the way of doing. No matter of uh, argument or discussion will make change their mind because they were taught that's the way. That's the problem, you know. And that's it's only one problem with uh, the way how the Sahaja Yoga is going. So in my worst nightmare, I see the future very dark in that perspective, becoming something very near, very
Narrow.
narrow, very dogmatic. So I'm I'm not happy at all if that
I
happens.
mean,
Lucky.
if you look at the history of religions, that's what happened to every religion.
Exactly, exactly. So now Delia, my wife, come in the picture and told me, no, you are wrong because now we are realized people and there are vibrations which will take over no matter what they want to do, you know? So
Yeah,
that's the big difference.
it is true. I think it's uh, Shemataji is the master behind everything. So we'll see what happens. But I believe Shemataji is the most genius person ever lived, and she's still there. So I am optimistic, but we don't know how it will work out, but it will for sure. Uh, the experience I was describing before earlier about this meditation in the sastra is a proof of it because when we experience this kind of state of awareness, no one can challenge, no one can argue, discuss. It's a pure state of consciousness, and no matter you do the puja this way or that way, it doesn't make any difference. The importance of protocol is to please Shemataji
Yeah.
and not do anything wrong on purpose. Like, yeah, look, it's a fine thing. It's like respecting a friend. We have to be, yes, look, I think in our meditation, we have to, of course, evolve to establish and understand the Dharma itself. It's a very fine road we have to be on. It's not easy.
Don't be mechanical as well.
That's the worst. Becoming mechanical is like hiding behind a protocol or a system, and then it can get rotten behind it. Nobody can see. So
That's
it's
why I'm
not
talking.
good.
That's that's why I'm talking about.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. The final goal to be one with God. We agree with that. Yes, that's the final goal.
Look, when you look at nature, look at the flowers, for example, how beautiful it is. A flower, how perfect it is. Who created this? And why cannot I do the same? Why cannot I contribute to the creation? So when we become one with Sri Mataji and we have these very deep experiences of real connection to God, real understanding of God, it is given to us an opportunity to become one with this. Like Sri Mataji was explaining, a drop becomes the ocean. And for me, the advantage of this is that we can contribute to the joy of the creation that has created this flower or these birds, these animals, this nature. And this is the only reason to pursue spirituality is to discover what is behind the beauty of the world. This is the nature, the creation is amazing. And we got to find out what is the beauty behind it, the power of love. That's what we need to become one with. This is the only that's my only motivation in doing meditation or doing Sahaja yoga is to discover that.
Shimataji said once that, or maybe more than once, that we have to go to different stages. First to Nirvichara Samadhi, which is thoughtless awareness. Not sure that everybody experience, but doesn't really matter. It's not the purpose of our discussion now. So let's suppose that we reach that stage or touch that stage. Also, with my wife, recently we start saying about us that we are Sahaja Yogi, and after that we laugh. Ha ha ha. We are in the way of becoming Sahaja Yogi. Hold on. I mean, we just scratch the surface to become Sahaja Yogis. So after Nirvichara Samadhi, obviously, is Nirvikalpa Samadhi. And in my understanding or listening to Shimataji, that is the supreme or close to the supreme stage from where you cannot come back. That's
Uh,
that's
I
my
think
that's my understanding from what, excuse me, Shimataji said. Reach Nirvikalpa Samadhi. If you reach it, is like riding the bicycle. You ride the bicycle, you remember how to ride the bicycle no matter what. You cannot. It's not the best example because sometimes you can fall from the bicycle. But uh, Nirvikalpa Samadhi, reach that stage. Bye bye.
no, I think my understanding is that so nirvichara is the silence, inner silence, where the thoughts stop. And
But
I
become aware. But being aware.
yeah, yeah. I believe that many people experience this, not constantly, but they have touched it at least
Yes.
once,
Yeah.
especially during the realization. The Nirvikalpa is a darkless awareness, which means that you know who Sri Mataji is and you don't have any doubt. Like having a doubt on Shimataji means that you cannot relax in meditation. You cannot let go. You cannot surrender because you don't believe. So it, through our experience of meditation, after offering pujas, offering our heart, offering our trust, uh, which we call the bhakti, the devotion. When I started Sahaja Yoga, I didn't have understanding of bhakti or anything like this. That I was explaining last time when I went to Italy and I saw all these Sahaja yogis dancing for Shrimadaji with an open heart. I was shocked. I did not understand what was happening. But later on, in my relationship with Shrimadaji, I recognized her as my mother, and this relationship grows into a complete trust where you don't have any issue about trusting Shamadaji because you know she's the truth, she's the reality. So when this happens, you can meditate in complete surrender, and I think that's the state of Nirvikalpa. So it takes us to a stage where we can actually starting to receive all the blessings. Because if you don't surrender, you cannot receive anything. It comes a bit, but it comes out the other way. So the moment we reach Nirvikalpa, we start receiving, but we still have to improve a lot. And in my own evolution, I can say that I have developed uh, a closeness to God Almighty. If you think of God Almighty as the Father of the universe, I have a lot of uh, heart connection with God Almighty. I just feel like that. I just feel like that. When many times um, without wanting to think about it, when I sit down on the earth and I look at the flowers, not at the flowers, I look at the tree and the leaves, I can see God in this because all these many leaves that are alive and the tree develops on its own. It doesn't need us to do anything. It just keeps growing and developing. And I just feel the God in all of this around me. And this fills my heart. I just feel very, very satisfied with this, very happy.
I uh, I get your point. My if I may, my understanding of the doubtless stage, uh, I believe it's a bit not different and not broader, but anyway, yeah, a bit different because I don't link it with Shimataji, and I tell you what, why? Because okay, I have to admit that not from the first day when I received the realization, and maybe not the second day when I have the follow up, which was after about 3 4 days after that, the next uh, Tuesday after I get my realization. So after probably 5 days, I have my second uh, program. But and not sure after the third one, but after I've been to Anka, so in just few weeks when I get to Anka's apartment with few other people, including Andrei, because with Andrei talk about this experience very often, and we know each other, by the way, from the first follow-up in that hall, you take the picture,
Yes.
yes, but much early. So we are talking
Yeah,
about
yeah, yeah. I know.
end of March, beginning of April, when we been for the first follow-up, and he stay in front of me, and after finish we start talking. So, and after that we been to Anka, invited there. Uh, and she put us videotapes, and was a click. I can call it collective click because we've been few people there. When we realize who Shimataji is,
Oh, wow.
that's happened again in few weeks, in few um, sessions,
Wow, that's a very important thing.
and
Wow.
since there, I can talk uh, not only from my perspective, but from others. We don't have any doubts about Shimataji. So for us, reaching Nirvikalpa Samadhi, as you describe it, as no doubts about Shimataji's power, Shimataji's who she is, it's a nonsense. Like feeling guilty. We were shocked. Why Shimataji put so much attention on the guilty? We don't give a damn about. We are not guilty. On all her tapes, you know, on Western.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
you have first of all take out the shoes. There are few conditions. You remember what she said? Few conditions, and she stretched a lot
Don't
of
feel guilty.
don't feel guilty and forgive everybody else. But not put attention on someone else. And we said, I don't hate anybody. Don't have problem with anybody. I don't feel guilty of nothing. Yes, I was smoking, but I give up 2 years ago, before Sahaja Yoga. You know, drinking, give up 2 years before Sahaja Yoga, spontaneously. On Srimataji's preparation for those countries, which started long before 1990. So we don't know this kind of stuff. Speaking about the differences between West and East, you know. So for
But you
me,
know, there is one thing is Nirvikalpa is not doubting Shrimataji, but also not doubting yourself because we 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 can come to a point where we
yes,
know our
yes,
divinity, we know who we are, we know we will not fail because we know, and this is part of the Nirvikalpa, I believe.
yes, yes. This is my point.
I
So
know,
you
I
you
understand.
you reach my point. So it's about doubting yourself of being able to
Yeah.
reach that point. In a way, looks like feeling not guilty, but feeling not worth enough.
Yes, yeah, I understand. Of course, I got you. Yeah, no, and this is the hardest because trusting Srimataji, knowing who she is, we can believe. But trusting ourselves, it's harder because we know where we come from. It's
How about being honest and admit it that I have doubts, not in Shimataji, but general doubts in the future, in myself not being able to do something.
but look, Daniel, if you look at a flower, take a lotus flower or a rose or whatever flower you want to pick. Isn't it perfect? Isn't it perfect?
Hold
The
on a
pe-
second. Hold on a second. It's the second time when you said that. No, he's not. So the perfection of the nature have a little bit of imperfection, which make it even beautiful.
it makes it perfect
Yeah.
because
The small imperfections,
it's perfect.
no
Because
leaf is the same with other, and even the leaf is not perfectly symmetric. If you look at the leaf, is not perfect, because the perfect symmetry we will make it not ugly, but will make it imperfect.
That's
It's
right.
it's against it's against beauty to be perfect. That's why the Greeks give up doing the perfect statues. Remember? You are
Yes,
you are an artist, you know
that's right.
that
That's
one.
right. I
They
know. I
give
know.
up. They start doing perfect symmetric matrix. And they realize, something wrong with those. Why are so static? It's like dead. It's and they start moving a little bit. They start moving. The Greeks. I'm not talking about the Michelangelo. So
But that's the thing is when you look at the perfection of nature in that state where it is not completely symmetrical, but
yes, yeah.
this is where I can see. And when you see that God Almighty is able to create a flower in that condition, in a world where you have uh, storms, hail,
Yeah,
dry, too wet,
yeah.
nature still works out. I am sure human beings will work out. I am going to work out. I know, there's no doubt. The only thing we need to accept is if, if I have love for someone, if I have love for God Almighty, if I can feel that, I know I'm in the right direction about becoming one with that creation. And that's all I need to know to be in Nirvikalpa. Because the way it is going to work out, every day is a new day. Every year has a different challenge. But last night meditation experience showed me that if I had any doubt, forget it because it doesn't exist. Doesn't exist.
I love you. I love you, brother.
It's just, it's just, I just enjoy the process. It's magnificent. What Shemataji has done is magnificent. And she has taken a human form, which is even more
Yes.
incredible.
Yeah.
When we look at how human beings can be complicated, God Almighty has been able to come in the form of the complexity of human being, which is quite interesting. I just, you know, every every puja is a new awareness for all of us. We discover new jewels of attention, and we have no idea what we're going to discover in 5, 10 years when we can see more of Srimadaji reality. It's just magnificent. Magnificent. Luckily, we have recordings because we can always go back and listen to
Yeah.
or look at Srimadaji. But what she's done is tremendous.
Yeah.
And the nature is in front of us every day. If we didn't have trees, if we didn't have flowers, if we didn't have animals, only buildings and cars, that would be hard.
Yeah.
But we have nature. Today we were walking in the nature. We have nature all around. This is such a blessing to have something pure in front of our eyes anytime we want.
You will come to New Zealand and will see a little bit of different nature than the Australia.
I,
Uh,
I have visited so I came for the project in Auckland. Uh, I think I came a couple of times to New Zealand, but I didn't visit much. My son Madhava came, and my other son as well, Prajapati came, but we didn't visit much as yet.
we have every year worshipping Sri Kartikeya. We focus a lot, not for long, long time. We should do it much, much early because Sri Kartikeya is the Lord of the land. But we start about, I don't know, 12, 13 years ago. focusing more. And since then, we are doing every year Sri Kartikeya Puja, at least at the national level, or at least in the ashram, but nearly everybody goes. Or
I have to tell you something. Okay, finish first with what you want to say, and then I'll tell you something.
yeah, no, I want to say that we're doing that every year. So even if it's not an international puja, we're doing on the personal level invitation to everybody with a strong desire for them to come, because only that we can have a better connections between not our countries, but between the chakras representing our country. So make it the whole world united. And I will tell you later about New Caledonia and New Zealand and Zealandia and other stuff. I find it when
All
I
right.
read a little bit more about that, because that make us more aware about Shikartikeya, more aware about Muladhara. That bring me more to the what Shimataji said about Muladhara, what prayers, which not many people knows. I mean, it's a shame that it's a 5 mantra prayer of given by Shrimataji. I didn't know it before. Okay, it wasn't my fault. But since I know it, I started doing every day. That's a drawing of Srimataji of Muladhara petals
Yeah,
with the
I have it.
sub petals.
Yeah, I have this.
I have it on my study on top of the. I'm not here there, but anyway, I learn it as a mantra. So all the qualities are there. All. It's not possible to be all because the qualities are infinite.
Of
But
course.
I count them and are more than 3 times 4, because should be 4 petals, which 3 sub-petals each should be 12, but are about 20. Because Shimataji add some comments to each petal. And in those comments, you find other qualities. And guess what? The first one, harmony and balance. Exactly what we are talking 5 minutes ago about the beauty.
Yeah, yeah.
Harmony and balance.
That's right.
Not symmetry.
Yeah, balance.
Harmony is the first one. Harmony, balance, and innocence. And after that, Shimataji add identification with joy and chastity. So add 2 more. That's only 1 petal.
You know what? What you
No,
just said.
I know, I
This
know.
is
I
this
feel
is
the
what we
same.
need.
I
This is
feel
what
the
we need.
same.
This is what we need to be Nirvikalpa.
Yes.
Harmony, balance, chastity.
Sensitivity. No, the third one is not innocence. It's I I was looking for every word and every comma of Shimataji because he's write it by her hand. She said she could said innocence. She said sensitivity to innocence.
Oh.
And after that, she make a comment. She said combination between A, B, and C. Identification with joy and chastity united by innocence. It's her writing.
Mm.
I learned by heart.
We should make a song with this.
I make a prayer. So it's my prayer. I say it for some stage until I learn it. I say it every night in the bed after I go to bed, laying down. That's Muladhara.
Yeah.
That we have to focus all the time. Usually, we know about 4 qualities of Muladhara, and usually we go even uh,
What?
Yes, exactly. It's innocence. Only in that drawing are 20.
Wow.
Anyway,
Wow.
uh, so
That makes me silent. It does. It does.
but guess what? That's not enough because you have Sri Kartikeya as well, which apart from the fact that has 1,000 names, he have very important 18 names. His number is 6, Sri Kartikeya, from the 6 Kritikas, her mothers. And apart from the Kritikas, he have another set of 6 mothers. I mean, other 5, plus the group of Kritikas who make the 6th one. Obviously, Shri Parvati it's her mother, but after that it's Ganga. You know all the story. If you don't, I will tell you some other
I
time.
don't. I see.
You don't know. You don't know the how.
Not all the details, but Sri
Oh,
Kartikeya is an important deity for me because I tell you, I wanted to tell you something
please,
before.
please tell me. Stop me talking.
No, no, but it's very interesting because in 1992, when I went to Kabbalah, I was asking Shramadaji if I could participate in the architecture work. So at that time, Stamatis from Greece was one of the architects working on Kabbalah renovation. So I spoke with Stamatis and I said to Stamatis, can you ask Shrimataji if I can participate in the work? So he said, okay, let's go and talk to Shrimataji. So he took me, we went to Shrimataji's room and we asked for meeting with Shrimataji. So we waited outside her room for some time and then they asked us to come in. So we went to see Shrimataji. And then Stamatis explained that I was from France, I am an architect, and I offer my services if I can help. And Shrimataji, so we were just sitting a meter away from Shrimataji, just, you know, waiting. And Shrimataji didn't answer straight away. She, so there were other yogis around us, so she was discussing different things. But when he asked her this question, she didn't answer straight away. And then suddenly she said, Sri Kartikeya destroyed Narakasura. And she was talking about this. And then suddenly after that, she turned to me and she said, yes, you will be able to participate in that way or that way. So I never forgot what she said before, talking about Kartikeya destroying Narakasura, killing Narakasura. And surprisingly enough, in my meditations, I have stronger connection with certain deities than others. And Sri Kartikeya was never, I never managed to get the knowledge on exactly who Sri Kartikeya is. I know, but I don't know. So the other day when we met, when you spoke to me about it, it actually had an impact on me. I realized the next few days my attention on Sri Kartikeya was different. So I would like, if you have more detailed information on Sri Kartikeya, I would be more than open to get it from you because I know I need this for sure.
Remember how we start this part of the discussion with uh, you coming to Sri Kartikeya to New Zealand, but I want to tell you that you should come for Sri Kartikeya Puja.
Ah,
That was
yes.
my that was my intention. So a little bit long phrase.
I see, I see, I
I
see.
have to.
Ah, yes, but actually, you're right. Actually, that's a very good point. Next time you have a puja, give me a call a few weeks before and I will manage to come.
I will. I will.
Yeah,
Usually we have it in November, but if you remember, because I sent you a message, we acknowledge his mother's
yeah,
critikas when it's in Maori tradition Matariki, which is the new year. It's a national holiday. So we believe something good it's happened that is acknowledged at the national level, although they don't know exactly what they are doing, but acknowledging Matariki, which is a Maori tradition of the Kritikas, which is a cluster, are the Pleiades, you know, uh, in the Greek. And all the civilization have uh, myths about those. It's a cluster, not a constellation. Absolutely all the civilization, including the Babylonian one. Don't mention the Hindu because they are the father of everybody. So we acknowledge Shri Kritikas on those days being national holiday as a whole country being behind, although the non-Sahaja don't know what it's about, but we know, and we have puja, and we let everybody know, and we try to make it uh,
good.
universal or
Yeah,
global.
collective. Yeah.
This year, collective, this year we cannot do it perfectly because we have technical hiccups, but
I followed the puja online.
yes, with the reading of 1000 name, which was good.
Yes,
Yes,
that amazing.
yes, we are doing that. So that's
And
how,
I was searching for these 1,000 names online because I don't have them here, and I could not find it. On the internet. It doesn't find it.
I will send you some materials because I was working quite thoroughly to know more about that. Being the subject of Sri Kartikeya, we don't we don't have. I cannot say that we put more attention. So actually, I struggle. I know it's wrong to focus attention on some favorites aspects of God. And I force myself not doing that because all aspects of God are important. Doing something like that is not good. I mean, you should treat all the aspects of God the
Of
same.
course,
What
but I
are
think
what are we doing?
if you learn an instrument, a musical instrument, and you say, okay, I'm going to learn the sitar, you have to focus on the sitar for a while.
Yeah,
Then you can do any other. It doesn't matter.
yeah.
It's okay.
What are we doing is to raise more the awareness about Shikartikeya in the global collective, and also, yes, focusing on our country as a chakra, as a right Muladhara. It's a very strong link with Australia, which is left Muladhara, very strong link between brothers. And I tell you what, I never start anything, worship, what puja, everything, meditation without Sri Ganesha and Sri Kartikeya. I have a lot of stories. I have a lot of things. I find it doing my research. I have to to dig, but and I will. I promise I will tell you if we still have this conversation. Probably one day I will say that make me talk even more than usual, which I realize is not good. I mean, I have to, yeah, let you talk more. So I'm ask you something else. Um, we were talking about Nirvikalpa. and reaching the final destination when we'll be one with God. Um, I believe we don't reach that stage yet because in that moment you cannot be human and one with God. What
I don't
what's
know.
your take on that one?
I have had experiences of being one with God already, and uh, and I know it was real. It doesn't remove me as being a human. I'm still a human being, but one with God is a state of awareness, like it's a higher state of nirvikalpa. I think it's possible to be a human being and being one with God. I think it's possible. I
That,
think it's hard to describe or explain.
that's your um, epitome of optimism. You told me that you are a optimist person,
If
and
if Sri Mataji can become human, I think as human being we can become one with God. What do you think?
uh, I wish to be as optimistic as you. I will read you the three forms God takes simultaneously. I know them, but because I want to make sure that I don't get it wrong, I will read them. The first one, it's Brahmakaya, the absolute impersonal form. Have no name, no nothing. It's completely impersonal. The second, and that's its Paramatma, so Parabrahma or Brahman, to have a name,
Yes, yes, I understand.
just to call
Yeah.
for something. The second is Divya Kaya. Kaya means body. Obviously, Divya Kaya is a celestial form. And those are the gods we know, like Sri Brahma, like Sri Vishnu, the Sri Adi Shakti. And the last one, but remember, those are what I read now and what I know are from the Puranas. It's not an invention, modern invention. The last one is Manusya Kaya, Manusya being human, so the human form, which is Sri Rama, Sri Krishna, not sure about Sri Jesus, probably Sri Mataji. But remember, those forms are simultaneously taken. I cannot dare to compare myself with being human, but being in the same league with with God. That's why I
But
I'm,
Don't forget, Shimaji told us we cannot become God. This is the key because we,
we are,
we cannot become God
yes.
Almighty. We cannot become God, but we can become one with. That's all. So it's not we are not becoming any of this divine aspects, but we become one. We merge in the ocean. We can be human or not human, doesn't matter. Like
We
Shimataji came as a human being, but she's still Shimataji Adishakti.
we have to continue. In that note, with a good meditation, we don't need the evening. I don't need the evening meditation. For you, it's a bit early, but it was a good meditation.
I'm
Jean,
so pleased. I'm so pleased.
Jean-Michel. Was a good meditation. Let's hope we have a few more
Yeah, I was,
like that.
yeah, because there are a few things I would like to share with you. Once we finish this recording, I'll tell you different things that we could develop in different later.
On that perspective, if you agree, even if you don't agree, I have to close it because I ran out of battery and I have to go. I have to go to the study to pick up the charger or to go there. But will be not very nice for our recording. So um, we can talk a little bit after to resume it. But for the moment, we have to say goodbye to our viewers. I said formally goodbye to you, although we will talk a little bit before after I charge my computer, my laptop. Um, Thank you very much for this beautiful conversation. And
The pleasure is mine.
if it's that so, that's a promise that we will continue.
Yeah, yeah. No, look, it's very nice to do.
For the moment, we
Yeah.
said goodbye, and we will see soon as possible.